So it's been 5 days since we've made a video with gameplay in the background instead of just the Streamlabs. I apologize if you can hear cars and wind and planes and trains and automobiles and all that stuff outside my apartment because it is hot. It's so hot, man. It's like 29 degrees in this room right here and 28 outside. It's ridiculous in Vancouver right now. So I'm trying to stay cool. I've got the window open. If you hear stuff in the background, then that's my bad. But I also will say, maybe it's easier to get away with it here because now we have game audio in the background as well, not just my voice. Anyways, today we are busting out the gameplay one more time because I wanted to just get into a discussion. I didn't want to dive into a bunch of numbers. I didn't want to keep on switching tabs back and forth between Elite Prospect pages or whatever. I wanted to talk about the Vancouver Canucks. Because earlier this morning, you had yourselves the Cam and Strick podcast, which, of course, features Cam Janssen and Andy Strickland. They had an episode with Tyler Myers that was super interesting to dive into and absorb as a Vancouver Canucks fan. Myers, of course, Canucks defenseman. He goes out there and does the interview. They talk about a lot of stuff. I'll leave a link in the description if you wanted to watch or listen to the podcast episode yourself. But in this podcast, Tyler Myers had some really interesting comments on Vancouver Canucks defenseman Quinn Hughes. And this is why we don't necessarily need the Streamlabs to go out there and make this video, because there are just a number of quotes that I wanted to focus our attention on here. It's been no secret that Canucks fans have been somewhat panicky the past few months, I guess. Yeah, that's an appropriate way to timeline it. Yeah, past few months, Canucks fans have been kind of panicky about Quinn Hughes and his long-term projectability as a Vancouver Canuck. We all know his contract is expiring in 2 seasons, which means the Canucks have essentially 1.5 seasons to prove to Quinn Hughes that they are worth re-signing with. A lot of the moves the Canucks have made this offseason, signing Besser, signing Garland, signing Demko, promoting Foote, not trading Pettersson, all of these things, you can say, are with the subconscious idea in mind that they want to keep Quinn Hughes in Vancouver. So they'll keep the guys that he likes, they'll stick together a team that he vibes with, that he identifies with, and hopefully it's enough not only to just, start winning games. That's obviously the main priority for this team, but they also do acknowledge that winning not just this upcoming season, but the seasons after 2027, that's a lot easier if they have Quinn Hughes still. So, the Quinn Hughes is leaving to join New Jersey and play with his brothers argument has been one that we have discussed a lot on this channel, and Tyler Myers goes out there and directly addresses it. So, let's go out there and look at this comment made by Tyler Myers. It was posted by Adam Kierszenblatt on Twitter. Myers spoke out on the rumors surrounding Quinn Hughes leaving Vancouver after his contract is over via the Cam and Strick podcast. Quinn doesn't like all that speculation and stuff. He loves his brothers, loves his family, like everyone else, but he's not going around the room saying that he wants to play with his brothers. I know it's a big story around the hockey world, but everyone makes it a lot more than it is. So, apparently, Quinn doesn't like the speculation. Quinn prefers not to hear it. Quinn is not saying adamantly, oh yeah, I want to play with my brothers. I want to do this. I'm going to leave. I want to go over to New Jersey. I want to play with Jack and Luke. And for Myers to straight up say, yeah, like he doesn't like the fact that people keep on bringing this up, that's kind of interesting to me. Now, for what it's worth, if you take a look at what happened next on the podcast, Taj replied to this. He said the funniest part of this part of the podcast was that the host responded by saying that it was Jim Rutherford who made it a big story by saying that Quinn wants to play with his brothers, and after the host said that, Myers went silent. Which also is true. We have to remember that part of the reason the Quinn Hughes wants to go to New Jersey thing was even perpetrated was because Jim Rutherford said it. He said on an interview, yeah, like we all know Quinn wants to play with his brothers. He wants to play with his brothers. So if he wants to play with his brothers, then either he goes there or we have to bring his brothers here. Like, Jim Rutherford is an old man. And that's not being disrespectful. The guy is literally 76 years old. That's an old man. But every time this guy speaks, it opens Pandora's box to whatever subconscious underlying narratives the Vancouver Canucks have, and the media gets to feast on all of it. Jim Rutherford is an unfiltered, unadulterated Vancouver Canucks spokesperson that seems to make things a lot more spicy than they really need to be every time he makes some comments or every time he speaks out into the media. Now, I also wanted to dive into some of the other things that Myers spoke about in regards to Quinn Hughes. Myers also said this, that Quinn is maybe the best player I have seen in my entire career, which is not surprising. That's probably fair. I mean, one of the replies here on Twitter is kind of pissed off that Myers isn't acknowledging McDavid or Draisaitl, but yeah, no, Quinn is very, very good. And is he probably the best player that Myers has ever played with? I'm not sure about that. Myers had played with Ryan Miller in the past. Who was good on those Buffalo teams when Myers was over there? Derek Roy. Brian Giunta. Pominville. Yeah, no, okay. Quinn Hughes is probably the most talented guy that Myers has ever been on a team with. Maybe aside from Bo Horvath. Okay, no, we're not going to do that today. But still, there is a lot of love that Tyler Myers shows over to Quinn Hughes. I just thought it was super interesting how Quinn apparently does not like all the talk about him wanting to leave for New Jersey. And honestly, like, it makes sense. Quinn, just based off of everything that we have seen as fans, he seems to be like one of the most uber competitive guys. Maybe he doesn't outwardly express it in the same way like a JT Miller does. Maybe he doesn't get frustrated and start yelling at guys and cursing at guys and banging his stick on the back of the net like Miller was to Colin Delia or whomever it was at that time. Maybe Quinn doesn't exhibit those outwardly aggressive lashes towards his teammates, but we know he is competitive. And if there already is this bubbling narrative in the city that, oh yeah, Quinn wants to leave, Quinn wants to play with his brothers, like, it's like, oh yeah, don't put words in my mouth, man. Don't go out there and decide my feelings for me. People are already talking about Rick Tocchet. Oh yeah, he's a quitter. He had the option to stay with Vancouver. He didn't. He wanted to leave. He didn't believe in this group. Yada, yada, yada. It's a little different with Quinn because it's like, oh yeah, everybody knows that him and his brothers is like the ultimate goal. We all recognize that that is something that they would all probably want to happen. But Quinn leaving Vancouver would be almost the same thing like Rick Tocchet leaving for Philadelphia, just with a lot less fan disrespect coming the other way. Like, I think a lot of Canucks fans would agree with it. They'd be like, yeah, okay, go over to New Jersey. They have a winning team. They have your brothers. It makes sense if you want to go there. But I think really there's not much that separates the legitimate underlying thoughts that Quinn Hughes and Rick Tocchet would have had if this were to go down. So I understand why Quinn is probably upset with the way Canucks fans are talking about him. And Myers is going out there talking about it in the media as to why that is. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Quinn Hughes and the potential of him heading over to New Jersey, as well as what Tyler Myers said about it? Quinn apparently doesn't like that talk. So who knows? Will we still make videos about it? I don't know, when some other insider goes out there and says it. Or when Jim Rutherford reopens those wounds and says that, yeah, Quinn wants to play with his brothers. Maybe then we will see what happens. But for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Quinn Hughes and the Vancouver Canucks and his long-term status on the team as a potential captain and option. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.